Housing is a right and a constitutional right, and it's also a promise that was made to Kenyans when the new government came into place. It is something that the government intends to deliver for Kenyans, has already been putting in much effort towards ensuring the same. Housing has been an agenda that previous governments have also attempted to deliver to Kenyans. They have started, they did start on the same, but this has really picked up during the current disposition. And the affordable housing program is actually the initiative that has been used to deliver this to Kenyans. So under the affordable housing program is to ensure that there is adequate housing of proper sanitation, providing proper sanitation. We are building not just the houses, we are building communities. So where we are developing affordable housing projects, we are having, of course, the houses, but we're also having other social and physical amenities in place, of course, access roads. We're looking at social infrastructure like schools for the populations that will be living there, health facilities, services like security services, police posts in the same places. We have fire stations in some of the areas where we are doing the projects. And trade areas, you'll have like commercial centers within the projects that we are building. We'll have markets nearby just to ensure that someone is living and working and playing just around where your house actually is. So that is what this program intends to deliver, and it intends to do this for all Kenyans. So under this program, any Kenyan who's above 18 years of age has a KRA PIN, has a valid tax compliance certificate, is eligible, can demonstrate to be able to pay for the house, is eligible to have a house under this particular program, irrespective of what income. If we have 3 income categories under this program. So we have social housing for persons who are earning below 20,000 Kenya shillings per month. We have affordable housing for persons who are earning between 20,000 and 149,000. And we have affordable middle class, what we also call market, for persons who earn above 150,000. So you can see, irrespective of your income category, you are able to benefit from a house under this particular program. And if you compare the cost of these houses, in terms of the full cost of the house, or if you look at the monthly repayments for someone who will pay for the house of using a TPS agreement, you realize that the rates are way lower than what is there in the market. And we have looked at all ways to enable Kenyans to access these homes. Initially, Kenyans were required to raise a 10% deposit to be able to access these homes. Right now, that has reduced to 5% as being one of the measures put into place to try and increase access to these homes and enable more Kenyans to access it, the homes. The homes are also at very low interest rates. So the 3 income categories that I mentioned, when you're getting home financing to be able to access these homes, it's quite affordable. So for the social housing, it's at 3%. For the social housing category, it's at 3%. For the affordable, is at 6%, and for the market segment is at 9%. All below, all are single digit, way below the normal interest rates within the market. And beyond that, there is an increased tenure compared to what is out there in the market. Most, if you look at home financing, you get that you're getting around 15 years to be able to pay for your home, most times. Under this program, it's all the way to 30 years. So irrespective of how much you're earning, you are able to access a home under this program, and under very comfortable repayment terms.
So does 30 years work around all the 3 categories?
Yes, the 3 categories across board. And then for the social housing category, we had something we're calling deposit assistance. So for those persons who are unable to raise a deposit, at that time was 10%. For the social category, we were giving it as a loan from the board, such that this is also amortized over the 30 years with the rest of your repayment for the house. You know, so you didn't have to raise it 10% deposit if you are under the social housing category. This has now been opened up to all the 3 housing categories, whereby you can come and say, my deposit, my 5% deposit for maybe a 3 million home is 150,000 Kenya shillings. I am unable to raise, you know, the entire amount. Maybe I'm able to raise 100,000, you know. I'm unable to raise 50,000. You can apply to the board for that deposit assistance, and therefore that allows you to access the home and just make your application for the home.
So to the board, if I'm unable to raise, say, 300,000 deposit, I come to the board for a loan. What is the interest?
The interest is at the same as the previous interest rates I've mentioned, the 3% for social housing category, 6% for the affordable, and 9% for the affordable middle class. So it is at the same rate. And you don't really come to the board. You make your application for deposit assistance through a portal we call the Boma Yangu portal. So that is the affordable housing portal, where everything affordable for you to access that home happens. You know, all the way from viewing where the projects are, selecting your preferred project, making an application, saving for the home, paying for the home. You know, the entire works from beginning to the end.
Sheila, do we need this kind of an interview for people to know? Because I can assure you, from a journalistic perspective, people don't know these kind of things. And the question is, are you holding back this information so that people do not apply Boma Yangu to apply for these units, or what is it? Because there is scant information around it.
These platforms are very much welcome. You know, for us, we have been building. Now the units are out there. We want people to access them because, you know, you build so that the houses can actually benefit Kenyans. So we do appreciate and acknowledge that, yes, there is some information gap. And because also with the program, there has been a lot of changes moving, you know, from where we started as construction was happening to now how the homes are being accessed, to the legal frameworks that are now in place. So there's a lot of information to put out there. We are trying and working through various avenues to ensure that the information is out there, and we welcome such opportunities to be able to pass the message out, you know, so that now Kenyans, yes, you have seen there's a project that is coming up somewhere near you, then how do I, as a Kenyan, access this home? Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the uptake of this program, a section of Kenyans, and I understand around 3.1 million, contributing towards the funds that are going into constructing these units. Then my question is, how does the board ensure fair access to the housing, to the houses, for levy-paying formal workers and non-contributors in the informal sector?
Okay, so the levy, you know, contrary to what the public may believe or initially was the case, is that it was tied more towards the formal employees, you know, people with pay slips and all that. But actually the levy is what every Kenyan should be paying for, as long as you're earning an income. You know, it is a levy, and it is what is supporting this program. So for employed Kenyans, you do get deducted 1.5% of your gross income, and your employer matches the same. For the non-employed Kenyans, you do submit 1.5% of your income per month to KRA. So it targets both. And then you see, when it comes to allocation of houses, or who is eligible for these houses, it is every single Kenyan, as long as you meet those eligibility conditions or the criteria that I had mentioned, that you're 18 years of age, you have a KRA PIN, you have a Kenyan ID, you have a valid tax compliance, which is evidence that you actually do pay your taxes, and then you're able to make your application, as long as also you prove, yes, you can be able to afford a particular house. And these opportunities are open for all projects across the country. So you don't have to say that I live in Nairobi, so I can only apply for a house in Nairobi. You can apply for a house anywhere within this country, as long as it's within your income category and you do meet those basic criteria as I've mentioned. So it is open and it is accessible to all Kenyans, whether formal or informal. And when it comes to how you also apply for the home, this is on that platform that I mentioned, Boma Yangu, which everybody can be able to access. And when you do get there, of course, just the same way you'd be buying a house out here, you're expected to provide certain personal information, certain documents and so on. So you'll find, like now when we are looking for your proof of income, it's not that you only have to attach your payslip. You can attach your bank statements. You have people out here who are doing business. They're not employed, they're not on payslip. They do use their business, their bank statements to prove their income. We do accept mobile money statements. Your M-Pesa, you may be Mama Mboga somewhere, your payments, yes, your payments are made through M-Pesa, or a till or something of that sort. So every single Kenyan can be able to access.
Allow me to single out one project which I find very interesting because I visited.
Okay.
Mukuru kwa New Mukuru Affordable Housing Estates. What was the allocation procedure? Because I understand we have occupants already.
Yes, we do. It's the Boma Yangu New Mukuru Estate, and of course it is Boma Yangu New Mukuru Estate. So all the projects that are being built under this particular program are titled Boma Yangu, and then the particular region, just to be able to give an identity for the projects that we're undertaking. So for Mukuru, because there's an aspect around a slum upgrading initiative, we do have the Mukuru project has 13,248 units that are coming up. Studios, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms at different levels of completion. So our first phase had 1,080 units. So 5 blocks of 216 units each, which were completed. And being that we intended this first phase to be part of a slum upgrading initiative, we did have, there is the State Department for Housing and Urban Development, which is one of our implementing agencies under the Act, has a department called the Slum Upgrading Department. And this is the government department that has been charged to look at issues of slum upgrading. And now not just slum upgrading, we're looking at slum eradication. So you do find that they do go to those areas. They do enumerate the persons in a particular place, because when it comes to issues of slum upgrading and eradication, is you look to have a place set out. You enumerate the members who are living in that particular place, because you want either to relocate them to another place or you want to redevelop that area that is formerly a slum. So for Mukuru, in this particular instance, is that we had enumeration undertaken within Mukuru Kwajenga. There are 2 areas. There is Mukuru Kwajenga and there is also Marigoini. So you identify the areas that you want to redevelop with houses, and you enumerate the people who are there, so that you don't want later someone coming to say or wanting to benefit and they were not part of the people who were affected by this project initially. So they were enumerated, they got specific identification cards as verified persons who will be affected by this particular project. And then now when the completion of this first phase happened, then these were the people who are given the first priority. And this is as stipulated also by our act, that wherever you're having a project and there are people who are affected or who will be affected by that particular project, you give them the first priority. So we did have several activations and sensitization sessions within those informal settlement areas around Mukuru, informed or sensitized the persons who would be affected by this project on the affordable housing program, on where we are planning to resettle them or give them opportunity to move to, help them in the registration process, just to ensure that you want this particular opportunity, we are giving you this particular opportunity and we are supporting you through the entire process. So then we help them to apply on Boma Yangu for those ones who are willing. And we closed out this entire application process for people who are outside the enumerated and verified persons. So when they made the applications, of course, through the Boma Yangu portal, then we are able to undertake an assessment, you know, because everybody who's on the Boma Yangu portal, you go through the same more or less criteria in terms of assessment. This portal looks at various aspects, or the criteria looks at various aspects. It looks at issues of, one, your income. Are you applying within your income bracket, as I had mentioned? It gives also some priority to those persons who are, will I say, maybe earning lower within which category, because you want the people who normally would be unable to access homes through the normal system, then they're getting an opportunity under the affordable housing program. We look at issues of consistency in saving, just to ensure that that person who contributes kidogo to kidogo towards their saving is also not disadvantaged. We look at issues around special circumstances, persons maybe who are living with disability. We look at issues of your ability to pay for this home, because we don't anticipate that if you're earning 20,000 Kenya shillings per month, then you're paying 20,000 Kenya shillings for housing, you know. So we need to look at, yes, how much are you earning, what is the ratio that it should go to housing, and leaves you with an income to be able to cater for your other needs. So we did the normal assessments, and then now we are able to communicate to the successful beneficiaries that yes, you are successful. Through the same system, a letter of offer goes out. They receive on their end. For those ones who are willing, they accept the offer letter, and then we proceed to signing an agreement. So most of the ones who came through the Mukuru, for the Mukuru Lot 1 project, were onboarded through TPS. TPS meaning that they pay a certain amount per month over the 30 years to be able to own this home, which is specifically 3,900 Kenya shillings for the studios. Those studios are going for 640,000 Kenya shillings in totality, and that translates to 3,900 per month at 3% interest rate, and it includes service charge, and it includes mortgage insurance for that fee. So upon signing their agreements, then we did have them move into their homes. Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, quite elaborative. Sheila, let's say payslip from Kenyans who are contributing towards the housing levy, and the target by government is 200,000 units a year. Is the contribution enough to sustain these houses? Is it
The construction.
the construction?
If you look at the levy alone, it's not adequate.
Yeah, and as you answer, is as you answer, please make us understand how much you collect from those who have payslips
Okay.
on a monthly basis.
Okay.
If
Okay.
you have the figures.
Okay. So there is no really segregation on those who have pay slips. We look at it in terms of the levy collected per month, which is an average of about 6 billion so far. That's what we have been collecting per month. Okay. So over the months that the board has been in place, and through, of course, the increased communication, sensitization, so an average of 6 billion. But if you look at our annual target of 200,000 units per year, that cannot be able to construct if you look at it one-to-one, because if you're looking at construction costs of about an average of 2 million per unit, you'd require 400 billion or thereabouts per year to be able to undertake 200,000 units. So,
Is 2 million per unit the ideal figure, or?
No, I'm just giving an average, because you have your studios, you have your 1 bed, 2 and 3 bedrooms. So it's just an average, you know. Even if you were to put it even at 1 million, that means 200 billion Kenya shillings. So you can see, even from that the levy on its own, it's not adequate. it is a great start because it is something we did not have, and it has enabled us to put up quite a large stock of housing out here. We have over 150,000 units going on under construction currently. So what the board is doing right now is looking at various measures. We have our financial advisors, and we're also borrowing lessons from partners who've been able, or players in the housing sector who've been able to raise financing for housing, because we need to increase our basket, you know. Very soon we'll be going to the market and releasing a housing bond probably, and other strategies to be able to raise money, because remember, these funds are not only building the houses, there is the associated social and physical infra, which also is capital intensive. Yes.
There have been concerns around transparency in allocation. Yeah. And the management of public land for affordable housing, that is the concern. Allocation and managing public land. What are the steps the board is taking to ensure transparent bidding of these affordable housing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a bit surprised when you say there has been concerns about transparency and the allocation, because so far we haven't received that. Maybe you'd put it in terms of?
By saying that, I understand we have court cases already. Latest, from what I understand, Busia Senator Fiona Tata moved to court recently about, is it Lamata project, that there's no clarity about how government allocated the project to developers. Yeah.
Okay, so those are two different issues. Because yes, there has been a court case, and it's around a project, it's Southlands, but it's the issues of residents association not being so much for the project there, so there is a bit of stakeholder engagement that is going on. But yes, that's what I was saying, I'm a bit surprised because there hasn't been raised concerns around allocation. You've been to Mukuru. Those are issues we've not had. We have allocated Homa Bay. We have not had that because it's actually very fair and transparent, as I mentioned.
Sorry to cut you short. The allocation, I'll take you back to...
Is it of the houses or of the projects?
Of the houses, and Kenyans are concerned. Is there a provision where one individual might have more than a unit, or how is the allocation process?
Okay, yeah. So it's actually very fair and transparent. Under the program, you can only get one house per ID. So, and that has been the case, you know. And the entire allocation process happens on the Bomayangu platform. So anywhere where something is digitized, it means there is an audit trail that you can be able to, you know, check through who applied, when did they apply, what criteria was used, who was successful, who was not successful, you know, what are the reasons. So has been fully fair. For Mukuru, as I mentioned, had before the verified enumerated persons who are all, you know, if you're from one informal settlement, it means you know your neighbors, so like they totally know each other. So that's, we've not had those instances. So, and everybody who's applied or who has benefited has applied through the portal, has been allocated through the portal. Yes.
I want us to jump ship kidogo, and President has been very vocal around this affordable housing.
Yes.
And in some instances, he has compared Kenya to Singapore. Then begs my question, why does the government compare Kenya to wealthy Singapore, despite our closer similarities to countries like South Africa in terms of population, income, and housing?
Okay, I may not know the context in which the president spoke about that, and you know, I mean, I would not question my boss's choice, but it hasn't, personally, I would not say we compare ourselves fully to Singapore. Maybe it's just because Singapore, we got independence around maybe the same time, our conditions were more or less the same, but in this entire program, we have picked lessons across the board. So Singapore being one of them, we have looked at India, we have looked at South Africa, we have looked at Egypt, we have looked at Mexico, and with the main purpose of picking the, you know, the good and the bad, you know, the lessons what has worked, what hasn't worked, how do we structure our own program to work best, and how to tailor those lessons to our own conditions. Yes.
In South Africa, there was passed apartheid housing program, which resulted to government building millions of homes, but many became low quality, poorly serviced, or isolated from cities.
Okay.
What lesson has Kenya learned from the experience, and how are we avoiding the same traps?
Okay. So there have been lessons, not only from South Africa, even Mexico. You find that generally provision of housing has been a government agenda for quite a number of governments, being a constitutional right. And it's unfortunate for some governments that has been, but it has given us lessons who are coming slightly later, because we know when it comes to issues around affordable housing, everything starts from the issues around planning, the issues around financing, the issues around how to ensure all segments within a population benefit from this program, and those are the lessons that we're taking. So one, we are working, right now all our projects are on either national government or county government land. So you can imagine they are within urban centers, they are within planned areas. Our projects, when we undertake them, we look at what infrastructure is in place. So either we plug into the existing infrastructure, could it be power, water, and where it lacks, then we put in provisions to ensure that there is proper service delivery. So you'll find where there is no water or inadequate water, we are having borehole sunk. Where we are having, for all our projects, we are ensuring that generators are in place. We are plugging to the main grid. Common areas are solar powered, so everywhere and everything that we are doing, we look at what is already existing. We look at the capacity of the capacity that will be needed by the numbers that are coming in within those projects, and then we plug in either into what is existing, or we make provision for what is there. And beyond that, we are also trying to ensure that our constructions and our projects are, meet modern standards. So you'll find we have Wi-Fi connectivity, there's gas reticulation, there's proper recreation spots. Children can play, there are playgrounds, there are the social amenities. For some of them, you'll find that you have gyms, you'll find places where you have social halls, So just going beyond even just the build, we're just ensuring that people are getting proper spaces to live in, that are well serviced, that are well planned.
You answered two of my questions all together.
Okay.
But I'll take you back. What is the bidding process for developers?
Okay, so currently under the Affordable Housing Act, we do not implement projects directly as a board. We do this through implementing agencies, which are outlined in the first schedule of our act. We have 8 of them. And so far, we have agencies that are already undertaking projects, which have now transitioned to the board. So normally under those institutions, because like the first 2 are government institutions, what happens is that they follow the Public Procurement and Disposal Act guidelines and regulations. So they'll of course work with the county governments, with the local leadership, with community to identify where projects can be, So they'll identify where the need is and where there is also available land. As I've mentioned, we've been constructing on national government and county government land. So where the land is and where the need is. And then now, based on that, they design the project, what is the need in this particular place? Do we need to build 500 houses? Do we need to build 200 houses, 2,000 units, So once they do the designs, then they put up public open tenders as guided by the Public Procurement Act. So you'll have it on newspapers, on MyGov, you'll have it on the websites of the institutions, and then bidders do come in, put in their bids, There are various documents for the projects that have been advertised. They undergo evaluation all the way to award, and then the project commences.
Do you foresee an instance where Kenyans have applied for, in this case, I'm using this as an example, Boma Yangu New Mukuru Estate, Kenyans have applied to stay there, but due to influence, they cannot be allocated a unit. Then how is the board going to resolve such kind of an issue?
Okay. Yeah, it's expected because there are some projects that have more interest than others. You can find even in the same project, some units have, they face more interest from Kenyans than others. You find maybe people who have bigger families, they want 3 bedrooms, so those ones are taken up more than maybe the studios. So in such a case, through the same Boma Yangu portal that I mentioned, we do have something we call the Boma Score. So yes, Boma Score. So during the criteria that I had mentioned, of course, it assigns various scores. So you'll be able to follow and see who had the highest to the lowest. So where I have, let's say, 23 bedroom units, and the people who have expressed interest, and after assessment we see are qualified for that unit are maybe 35. So I'll pick from the first to the number 20, and also it looks at the issue of who applied first. That is also another, I'll call it a tiebreaker. So at the point of where there's an oversubscription, of course, we look at the Boma Score, we look at that the time stamp. Then for those ones who actually had qualified for this house, just that the units were less, they are given priority in your second option. So you can select, maybe I had chosen a Starehe project here in Nairobi. It's oversubscribed. I can change my application and choose Soweto A project, and I'll be given first priority. So when it comes to the Boma Score and it shows that I was on the waiting list because I was from a different project, it gives a certain score for the person who was on a waiting list. So you get prioritization based on that.
In the interest of time, I would like you to speak to the camera to convince that one Kenyan who is really confused, for lack of better word, about this affordable housing product. And in that regard, that Mama Mboga lady, that Boda gentleman, who is really willing to take up a unit, but he or she doesn't know where to go.
So Kenyans viewing this from all over the country, this is a message, one, to just inform you that this is a great opportunity. Kenyans are paying the affordable housing levy, and therefore, because you are paying for it, don't let the opportunity to benefit from it pass you by. So this project, this particular program is for all Kenyans, irrespective of what you're earning and your form of engagement, or not formal, your economic engagement. So as long as you're a Kenyan, 18 years of age, you have a Kenyan ID, you have a KRA PIN, you have a valid tax compliance certificate, and you have an income that can afford to pay any amount above 3,900, because that is the least that we are paying, and the highest is about 21,000 Kenya shillings per month. And our houses range from lowest 640,000 Kenya shillings for a studio unit, and about 3,800 to 4 million for a 3-bedroom house. So every single Kenyan, irrespective of your earnings, you are able to access a home under this particular program. If you're earning below 20,000 Kenya shillings, that is social housing category. If you're earning between 20 and 149,000 Kenya shillings per month, that is affordable housing category, and above that is the affordable middle class. And interest rates when it comes to home financing for this is at 3%, 6%, and 9% respectively. And we provide various forms for you to be able, or various options for you to be able to access these homes. You can access through outright cash purchase. You can approach the board and various financial institutions around you for home financing at the 3%, 6%, and 9% over a period of 30 years. And you can also access a home through the tenant purchase scheme, whereby you raise your deposit of 5%, and then you're able to pay the rest of the cost of the house over 30 years at a monthly rate as low as 3,900 Kenya shillings. And the way to access this home is very simple. You just need to log on to www.bomayangu.go.ke. When you're there, you're able to register as a Kenyan. You activate your account with 200 Kenya shillings, which goes to your savings for the house. And within that portal, you're able to view all projects that are going on in the country. You can apply for a project anywhere across the country that you like. You can apply for any unit that you like, typology. We have studios. You have 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms within those income categories that I mentioned. And therefore, once you're on the portal, you find a preferred project, you find a preferred unit. You raise a 5% deposit for persons who are within the affordable housing category and the market housing category. Then you can make an application. For social housing as well, you can make an application. For social housing, you don't have to raise a 5% deposit. And this has been opened also to the other categories. You can approach the board for deposit assistance to be able to access your home. And in case you face any challenges, you can call us on 0700-832-832 or 0739-832, or email us on support@bomayangu.go.ke.
Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you for the opportunity.